Road trip time. Not really far road trip. We are going to the post office today. We're picking up chicks. And we're going to talk in this video about everything you need to know about chick pickup day. Let's get into it. Hello everybody, welcome to Homesteady. Today, chicks are arriving to the farm. We have 100 Cornish cross meat chickens that are at the post office right now as we speak, and you and me are going to go pick them up. And in this video I'm going to share with you some tips, some things you're going to want to know. Hopefully you are one of the people watching, comment below if this is true, who are getting chicks for the first time this year, and hopefully this video helps you. Be ready for them. Nice stop, bro.
Well, we accept this, right? We know the market can stay extended for years. That's the reason why we're here.
All right, we are at the post office. Something happened very strange today that doesn't normally happen to me when chicks arrive to the post office. Normally, I get a phone call bright and early in the morning. I would be in my pajamas still, and all of a sudden my phone would ring and it would be the post office, and a cranky post office worker would say, "Hey, get down here. Your chicks are here. Get them out of here." Today, two strange things happened. First off, I got a call from an incredibly cheerful, very happy, nice post office worker. Love those kind. They seem to all be in Pennsylvania, none of them in Connecticut. Comment below if you agree that post office workers in PA, really friendly, Connecticut, really cranky. Second, this phone call happened, it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I got a call a couple hours ago saying they were on their way here. Normally when you're getting chicks in the mail, the first tip I have for you in this video is be ready for them to arrive early in the morning. The post office will often call before they even open the doors. And if you catch them on the phone and they don't leave a message, ask them to meet them at the post office back door. Oftentimes you'll go driving down to the post office because you got the phone call and you're excited to get your chicks, but the post office isn't open and your chicks are sitting inside getting cold. If you say to the guy on the phone, "Hey, can I come early and meet you at a side door and grab the chicks?" Usually the postal workers want to get the chicks out of the post office and they'll be more than happy to accommodate. Not always, but often that's the case. So I am going to run into the post office, get my chicks, I'll be right back. And then we'll talk about what to do when you get them. All right, as you can hear, the chicks are in. We got them. They are all very happy and healthy, and that's one of the reasons you want to make sure to go and get your chicks right away when you get that phone call. Every minute they're getting colder and colder, and you don't want them to get colder. They get to stay warm all together in that little shipping box, but eventually they'll cool off. So get out, get your chicks, and let's get home. And then I'll tell you what you need to do next on the day your chicks arrive.
The dead cat balance up to 17K because it did not go back into price discovery mode during this rally. This is what led to the insane.
What'd you say?
I love baby chicks.
Come here. I love baby chicks. Hop in the back.
Alright.
What do you hear back there?
Chickies. Aww.
Everybody in?
Yep.
What day is it?
Chick day.
Oh yeah.
They're adorable. Sometimes you fight them. Sometimes you can fight me.
All right, we're going back to the barn and we're going to get the chicks in and cozied up. Grab that, Bubba. Yep.
I'm gonna help
Can you stand still?
Hold on. Yeah, I can do it. Who's in the car? All right. The chicks are in the barn. The next tip we have for you is it's important to do this before you open the box up and let everybody out. So we're going to put the box down and then I'm going to explain to you what you want to make sure to do the moment your chicks arrive. But I got to put this box down because you can't even hear me, they're so loud. All right, let's put it over here.
Yeah.
Are you guys excited about chickies?
Thank you, Daddy.
You're welcome.
I love them. You're the best thing ever in the night.
Oh, you love chickies so much. I didn't know that. So before you go and let all the chicks on the loose, you want to make sure that you teach your chicks where they got to go to get a drink of water. While you're doing this, we always forget to do this, but this year we're not going to forget. Make sure to count your chicks. Although perhaps you ordered 100 or 50 or 10, they might send you extras. And it's always good for your records to know exactly how many you have. And that way you know what your losses are like. You keep better track of your animals. So make sure to count and let them get a drink. So we're going to do that right now. We're going to take all these chicks out, count them aloud, and give them a drink. Okay, so one thing to remember while you're counting, here's a little tip from doing this for years, especially with kids. It can get a little crazy counting all the chicks, you know, as everybody's grabbing them, everybody's counting. So I like to only count the chick when it is getting the drink. So that way you know the moment it gets the drink, you count that chick aloud and then on to the next chick. So we're gonna take them out, give them a drink, and as they're getting a drink, we'll count them and then we'll let them free. And we're gonna be careful not to step on any. There's a lot of us in here. All right, go ahead. All right, now hold on. One at a time. We're going to pull them out, and we're going to give them a drink, and we're going to count aloud. Number 1, 2. Give them a drink, and then put them down right by that. 3, 4. All right, the chicks are in. They've all got a drink. I lost count. Did you guys keep track of how many? Oh well, it was about 100. I want to share a couple more tips with you about day one with your chicks. So once you get them home, make sure right away to get them out, get them in their brooder setup. The next thing you want to make sure, as we showed you, get them a drink right away. Make sure they know where the water is. Okay, so you've got them a drink, you've got them settled in. Food. Chicks do not need to have food the second they arrive. They do want to have a good drink of water. They don't need to have food the instant they arrive. But there's no reason you shouldn't put them on feed. And actually, I have read some studies, if I can find them, I'll link below, that suggested the quicker chicks were able to start eating high protein feed, the better they grew, the quicker they grew. So we do like to give them food right away. We make sure to use a crumble feed, and we make sure to use a chick starter feed. There's a difference between chick starter and chick grower. In the beginning, early stage of life, they need a special feed to give them a good kickstart, get them going. So find yourself a good quality chick starter starter feed, something that has more protein, packs a stronger punch for those early days. This is very important. When the chicks get home and get in your brooder setup, they're going to be cold and they're going to pile up together in one little space. However, as they get acclimated to the heat lamp, they warm their bodies up, they will start to spread out a little more. And you can put a thermometer in your room and check the temperature underneath your heat lamps. That's not a bad idea. And in fact, we've at times used things like the sensor push. I'll put a link below. Sensor push is a Wi-Fi little thermometer sensor that will send a temperature to your phone. You can check it, any time of the day. We have used thermometers, we have used things like that sensor. However, the best way to tell if your chicks are comfortable or not is not the actual number on the thermometer, but rather what do the chicks look like. So right away, they're gonna all pile up and try to warm up, but as they get warmed by that heat lamp, they'll start to spread out. And ideally what you wanna see with your chicks is that they've all kind of gone under the heat lamp. They're not all in a big pile. If they're all piled up, it's like, we're too cold, we need body heat. And at the same time, you don't want to see them way out to the sides with like an orange glowing bare spot in the middle of the chick pile. That tells you that the heat lamp is too close to them and they're too hot. So you want to find that perfect medium where the chicks are all under the heat lamp, but they're not piled up on top of each other and they're not too far apart that they're too hot, because you don't want them to be too hot or too cold. And as you remember in our first video in the series, if you missed it, make sure to click there to watch it. We put our heat lamps on chains so that we can easily raise them and lower them just with one little click. Very simply, very easy to adjust. And as the chicks get further feathered and grow more and get bigger, you'll need to raise those heat lamps up. So that's something you just want to monitor every day. Now the first day you have to monitor a lot more than day 4 or 5. Once they've become acclimated and you have adjusted everything to them, generally speaking, you'll only have to change things once a day, maybe once every couple days. But day 1, everybody's getting used to the temperature. Your setup may be off a little bit. So don't set it up and 5 minutes later take a look at them and say, hey, they look fine, I'm gonna go inside my house now and leave them. Check back. Ideally, you wanna spend, half hour sitting there watching everybody, making sure they're all healthy and happy. Maybe even longer, but of course check back frequently to be sure that you've got that temperature correct. One really helpful way to do this without having to run out to the barn every 10 minutes, we said in our setup video, we put a Wise camera on our chicks. It's a $25 Wi-Fi camera that you can check from your phone any time of the day. So the day 1 when chicks arrive, we will have that camera on all day long. We'll be watching the chicks. And from the Wise camera, we can see, are the chicks all crowded together? Have they spread out? Do they look just right? It's a bit of a Goldilocks situation. So you want to make sure you get that porridge just right. You can see Chick Day is a very exciting day for our family. The kids love seeing the chicks. My middle son just said to me it was his most favorite thing ever, which is news to me. I always thought he loved pigs the most. It's a very exciting day for the kids, but don't forget chicks can carry diseases, especially if you get them from a big hatchery, and at those big hatcheries you can get, some intense forms of salmonella and other things. So while we don't worry so much about our kids being involved in taking them out, getting them a drink, we like the kids to be involved in our homestead. You want to make sure that your kids aren't touching the chicks and then licking their fingers, picking their nose. And of course, when they're done, make sure the kids wash their hands. We wouldn't want to get anybody sick because it can spread disease. This is a very pivotal time in your chick's life. When they first arrive, they are most fragile, their weakest state of life. Lots can go wrong. So really baby these chicks. If you're getting the chicks the first day they arrive to the homestead, hopefully you don't have to go to work that day. If you do, maybe if you have someone locally who could check in on them and maybe put a Wise camera on them, that way at least you have the peace of mind knowing they're okay. Like I said, they're probably gonna arrive early in the morning. You don't wanna go a full 10, 12 hours without checking on them, because if your temperature's off, if something is wrong, you wanna be able to quickly make the changes that are needed, make sure everybody's happy and everybody's healthy. That's pretty much all for move-in day. We're gonna check back in on these chicks in a little while, see how things are going, make sure the brooder looks good, and we'll talk through your first day and help answer any questions you have. There's plenty more great chick tips coming, but I have to tell you some big news to look out for. Everyone, next Monday, around noon Eastern time in the United States, I guess Eastern time's the same everywhere, special Homesteady announcement, really big announcement. You're not gonna wanna miss this. Here's how you make sure you don't miss it. Click right there, get on our email list. We're going to send out an email because YouTube doesn't always tell you when we're live streaming. We're gonna be live streaming this announcement. Next Monday around noon, get on our email list. We'll send out a warning before we go live. So get on the email list for that. And Homesteady Pioneers, also make sure you're on the email list because this weekend I have a special Homesteady Pioneer only episode about starting homestead businesses. We're gonna talk about why you should start a homestead business. Gonna give you a lot of advice. It's something I'm very passionate about. I love homestead businesses, little farm businesses, craft businesses. So we're gonna kind of guide you along the startup process there. Don't miss out on that. I'm gonna be sending you an invite in your email inbox later today. So stay tuned for that. Two big things to watch your email inbox for. And now let's get back to chicks. Okay, it's been a little while. I'm going to check on the chicks and see if they look warm, if they look cold. Also, I'm gonna do a little Q&A session. Don't forget, follow Homesteady Show on Instagram. We're using the Instagram Stories feature to get your questions. I've been asking my Instagram followers to leave me questions while I'm filming a video. That way I actually get to answer some questions while I'm making the video. It's really, really cool. So I just said on Instagram Stories a few moments ago, hey, let me know what questions you have about chicks arriving day one. Now I'll check my questions and I will get to answer them in this video, which is just awesome. So make sure to follow us. I'll have a link below or click right there. Follow us on Instagram. All right, so we're gonna take a peek and right away I can see some issues with our setup. This is why you wanna make sure to give them a little time to get acclimated and then check back in and make some changes. So there's way too many chicks under one heat lamp. That tells me that's the warmest spot. The other heat lamps have no chicks under them. So there's overcrowding at the one, not enough at the other. Let's try to fix this. Another tip for you parents who want to get your kids involved in chicks. Again, as you can see, mine just love being in there and helping out. And it's really, it's an important part of having a homestead, I think, and getting your kids involved. So what I'm about to say, benefits outweigh the risks, but just be wary, especially with your younger ones. It's very easy to step on these chicks and kill them real quick. Last year, my middle son, so excited to be in there helping out, stepped on one, he came, brought it over to me, he said, "Daddy, look, there's a worm coming out of this one." Ooh, I didn't have the heart to tell him. Those are his intestines. Yeah, that chick didn't make it. So just be aware as your kids are helping out. It's easy to step on these chicks. Try to tell the kids to just move slow, watch where they're moving. Try to have them stay in one spot as they unload. You know, if you put them in between the water and the box, and they can just grab them and put them out. And this is also a warning to you too, because as you go in there and you're working around, it's super easy to step on these chicks and that'll be game over. Another thing to know about the chick safety, especially if you do what I do, which I really suggest you do, hang your waterers and your feeders so as they get older you can raise them up. Really, really nice to do that. Make sure your feeders aren't so high off the ground that a chick can get under it, but then get stuck. And also, even if you don't hang your feeders, be aware when you fill your feeder up or water her up and then you go and you put it back down in the brooder. If it's a tight space, I've had it happen almost every year, at least once this will happen. We'll put a feeder or a waterer back in the brooder and you don't notice it, but a chick winds up underneath, and a day later when you go to lift it up and refill that feeder, there's a little smush chick underneath your feeder. So this stage of the game, they're very small, there's a lot of them, they kind of blend in with the shavings. It's very easy to wind up hurting them, so just be aware, keep your eyes peeled. Now you know what to look out for. Hopefully all 100 or however many we had, because again, I lost count. Hopefully they're all okay. I asked you over on Instagram, what did you want to know about chicks' day one arrival? And Megan Gerwell asked, do you put anything in their water when you get them? Great question, Megan. I have heard all kinds of different stories about people putting everything from apple cider vinegar to just regular table sugar to probiotics, apple cider vinegar. Did I say that? All kinds of things people add to their chicks' water. Honestly, over the years, we've tried different things. Raw milk. We even put camel milk in last year. Nothing has ever, in my opinion, made a huge difference in the mortality rate of the chicks. I'm not saying it doesn't work. I just haven't seen an obvious difference myself. That said, I haven't been keeping real good data either. So comment below if you put something in the chicks' water and you find that it helps. Let us know what it is, and maybe we can all benefit from the experience that you all have. Lauren Dunn Nutrition says, first timer here, definitely what to expect at the post office pickup. She wants to know what should you expect. So as we already talked about in this video, be ready for a nice early morning call. Ask them if you can get to the door. We already covered a lot of that. But Lauren also asked, how long should the heat lamp be on in brooder before arrival? So that's a great question. I really suggest you have the heat lamp on before the chicks arrive. You don't want to be turning it on when they arrive. There's a lot of area to heat up, especially if they're out in a barn and it's a colder time of year. So we like to turn it on a whole day before we expect them to arrive, because like we said, you never really know when you're gonna get the phone call. And here we are, we turned them on this morning expecting to get the phone call tomorrow, and we got a call this afternoon that they were here. So definitely make sure your heat lamps are on the morning before you think the chicks are gonna arrive, not only to heat the room up, but really to make sure they're ready in case you find the chicks arrive sooner than expected, because like we said in our last video, they always seem to arrive sooner than expected. I'm just gonna go out and say it, this entire Raising Meat Chicken series is brought to you by all of John Siskovich's stuff. He's not like an official sponsor, but Johnny is awesome. He actually, we're an affiliate of his product. So if you get Johnny's stuff through our links, you help support our channel and you help support Farm Marketing Solutions. So this Pasture Poultry packet, I've showed you this in every one of these videos. I wanted to share today something from the Pasture Poultry packet that's super helpful on the arrival of your chicks, putting them in the brooder. If you are trying to figure out, are my chicks too hot or too cold? Johnny has a whole section in the book all about how hot do chicks need to be, heat lamps and chicks. He's got illustrations that help you figure out whether or not your chicks are too hot or too cold. What I wanted to share is day one, what temperature do you want your chicks to be at if you have a thermometer to check it? 90 degrees. That's day one's temperature. Now here's the thing, day two, you also want it to be 90, day three, but as you continue to go forward in the chick's life, you want to slowly decrease the temperature as they grow older. So while day one is 90, by week two you're in the 80s and it keeps changing from there. So if you want to make sure that you have that chart ready, every day you can check it and then check your thermometer. I keep the Pasture Poultry packet out in the barn. That way when I'm out in the morning and I see the thermometer says it's 84 degrees, I can check this is day number so-and-so and I know what the temperature needs to be. So click right there to get Johnny's Pasture Poultry packets. He's got 3 of them now, and to get his chicken tractor guideline, chicken tractor designs. This series is kind of like sponsored by Johnny's stuff. So you'll support us and Johnny in the purchase, and I can promise you, you will pull this out every year. I've been doing it for 10 years. I still forget all this stuff. So this is so helpful to have sitting on the roost, ready to go. Okay, this is practicing what you preach, right? It's the same day, it's the evening. I actually just got out of the shower and I'm back in my barn clothes, coming out to the barn to check on the cheeps. The cheepies. And they actually look really good. This is really good to see. Look at They look real good. Hi, kids. So, family's talking to me through the intercom through the Wise Cam. The Wise Cam, I must have bumped it or something. It wasn't aimed really well at the chicks, and so I couldn't tell from the Wise Cam footage how they were. So I'm gonna fix the camera so that it looks right. Let's see how that looks. Are you watching?
Yeah, that looks better.
That looks better? All right. Another cool feature of the Wise Cam, intercom. Now you have an intercom in your barn. People in the house can talk to you. Again, link below for that stuff. All right, I'm going to just adjust. I don't know, they look pretty darn good. All right, I'm happy with the setup. They look good. So we're gonna leave them there for tonight. They're definitely getting acclimated nicely, and they weren't as bunched up when I first walked in, so that's always a good sign. Sometimes when you get in there and they move around, they lose some heat, but I think it's good. I'm happy. I can see them better on the camera now, and now I can get a little sleep. Nice thing is we have the camera on them, and we can check them throughout the night, and if we see, you know, any problems, we can come out and fix it. My last parting tip for you is if you're gonna have meat birds out in the barn, get yourself a pair of bibs like these Carhartt bibs. I'll have a link below for them on Amazon. They are nice because underneath my bibs I'm in my PJs, and when you gotta run out to the barn, instead of having to put on adult clothing, it's nice. I can still be in my PJs, go out in the barn, stay clean, and go back inside. So with that, we're gonna shut this one down. I hope you're enjoying this series of meat chickens week by week. Stay tuned for the next episode. See you later.